Shalom, shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishop, and elders, a great millstone, and peace and blessings be multiplied on all you brethren teaching his word in all sincerity and truth. And shalom to the hopeful elect, the 144,000, and all you, and the rest of the men, women, and children the Lord will have mercy on in these last days. Shalom. It's the brother Damal Gabar here with another lesson. Lord willing to edify through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And I was reading this article here. I'm ringing the alarm bell because flood of illegals is crushing the country. And, and this is, the times that we're living in to where, we're about to see great chaos and dysfunction and civil unrest, race riots, class riots, civil war that, we have been prophesying for the last, 14, 13 years here on the YouTube, according to biblical prophecy. And this is exactly what this flood of illegals is going to cause this country to collapse. It's going to cause a greater divide that is already, there's already great division here in America. But this, migrant situation is going to cause more and more destabilization, more and more infighting, more and more race riots. Eventually you're going to have a lot of these American citizens clashing with these migrants as they're being flooded into these different states, receiving taxpayers' money to be basically, provided for, given medical insurance, given debit cards with thousands of dollars a month, getting free room and board, while the average taxpaying American citizen is barely living paycheck to paycheck, struggling, not getting any help from the government. Being shafted, being left out in the cold, losing jobs to these migrants. So it's going to just create more and more division, which is going to cause the destabilization of this society as these, elites are, trying to orchestrate. But it's ultimately the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And this is when, Jacob's trouble is really going to kick in, is when, all hell breaks loose here in this society. All right. And this is all a snare, it's all a trap, and it's all being orchestrated by these elites, because they're going to bring destabilization, man. And America, is soon going to be like that movie, The Sons of Men. I think the guy named is Clive Owen. Watch that movie, man. They show you how the mass influx of, refugees, but in the movie they called them Fugees, how they were just totally just destroying Europe at that time. And you had the average American citizens, they were, the average European citizens, they were, highly affected by all those migrants, to where, those migrants and those Fugees became the new face of terrorism. And they had a huge agenda in that movie where they was going around the country and they was rounding up all the Fugees, sticking them on those buses, and they was sending them to like their own refugee camps, which was, torn by civil war. You had the Arabs in there fighting against, different Arab sections. You had Europeans in there. It was just all complete and utter chaos and hell, because they had destabilized, that country via massive influx of migrants. And, they're doing that here in America, which is going to totally just tear this country apart, man. And it's going to further, bring in biblical prophecy, and it's going to eventually, the purge is going to commence here, man. All right. And I was reading this article that says since the Biden administration came in, they've allowed over 10 million illegals, man. And it's going to show you in these different states where they're mostly being brought to. Those are going to be major states that's going to be majorly destabilized and majorly affected in the near future, because once the aid runs out, once they stop housing these migrants, once they stop giving them the goodies and the benefits and the health care and all the free money and the goodies, man, eventually they're going to come here to tear up shit. And we know that a lot of these illegals that are crossing the border, a lot of them are military age men, and a lot of them are the prisoners from these different South American countries that have been released from prison. And a lot of them are murderers, they're rapists. They got gang affiliations. A lot of them are working for the government. A lot of them are agent provocateurs. A lot of them are sleeper cells. You got all type of unsavory characters entering into this country to further bring in this destabilization and to bring in the complete and utter, chaos that these elites want to bring to order. All right. And we've been warning you, Jake, and telling you, that these days are vastly approaching. All right. And if you're not part of the elect of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, if you're not under the protection of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai during these dark and crazy times, man, hey, a lot of you are going to be highly affected, and a lot of you are going to be put to death during these, crazy times that we're about to enter into here in Babylon the Great. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow or next week, but we know, it's going to get worse and worse. And this article is going to show you a lot of the shit that these illegals, these migrants are doing here, and hey, it's only going to get worse, man. But anyways, it says, ahead of President Biden's visit to the southern border on Thursday, with former President Trump planning to visit simultaneously to slam the radicals in the White House for sparking the worst migrant invasion this nation has ever seen, a new graphic released by Bloomberg shows locations where illegals have ended up after being bussed through a nation via a shadowy network of taxpayer-funded non-governmental organizations. And that's why you have a lot of Americans talking about now that you shouldn't pay your taxes, because all they're doing is using our taxpayers' money is to fund these shadowy networks and to bring in these illegals to further destabilize this country. And a lot of people say that they're bringing in these migrants as a new societal class because they want to get rid of you spoiled, high-ended, living Americans, and they want to replace you with these migrants who will obey, who will do what they're told, and who will eventually, be new citizens of the NWO. And they're bringing in a lot of these migrants to vote for to vote Democrat. They're trying to make them, a citizen so that they could vote and that they could further just keep the Democrats in, in power. But we know these migrants are being used for many purposes, man. All right, and it's not for good, And eventually they're gonna eventually put things together when they realize that they were just being used by the powers that be to come here, and eventually they're gonna turn up and they're gonna burn shit down and they're gonna riot and they're gonna take it to the streets, and it's just gonna add further chaos to the situation, man. It says the latest figure from the U.S. Custom and Border Protection shows a whopping 7.3 million illegals have flooded this nation under Biden's first term. And you got, Africans, Chinese, Arabs, Venezuela, all type of nations and heathens entering into this country illegally, man. And a lot of them, a lot of these states where they've been bused, now they don't have enough beds. They don't have enough housing to house these people. And eventually, the little sanctuary cities that they're being stationed at, eventually it's not going to be enough. They're going to have to, they're going to have to eventually have to just tell them, look, just you're on your own, just go. And where do you think they're going to go? They're going to be roaming the streets. They're going to be building tent cities. They're going to further destabilize this country and turn it into a third world situation. Salakia. All right, Salakia. And eventually, all these migrants are going to be just roaming the streets with nowhere to go. And what do you think they're going to do? They're going to be out here getting it by any means necessary. They're going to be the ones smashing and grabbing, looting, rioting, taking it to the streets, going up in people's different neighborhoods, eating cats and dogs that that are in people's backyards. They're going to eventually riot, and people are going to be at each other's throat, and it's going to be survival of the fittest. And it's going to be complete and utter chaos and all hell breaking loose out here, man. And we see these things crystal clear because of these things are prophesied within the Holy Scriptures. And we're at the time to where, these things are getting ready to happen. And we've been, it's our job to tell you and to warn you of these things. It says it was already evident that illegals were being transported by bus to major Democratic cities such as New York City. And watching these are going to be the states that's going to really get it the worst, which is going to have the biggest forms of insurrection and sedition and civil war and race wars and rioting and invading one another. More crime is going to explode in these in these states, because it's all part of the agenda, and these are just the states that they're telling you. It could be more, but as we know right now, hey, and we already see it happening in New York City with those migrants beating up the police. They doing robberies on scooters and shit. All they're doing is just bringing whatever they were doing in their countries here to America. And they're committing crimes. They're not being thrown in prison. They're not being deported. They committing these heinous crimes and then just being let right back on the streets, man, because it's all part of the agenda. You see? It says New York City, Detroit, Los Angeles, Denver, and other urban centers. Now, according to, they didn't put Chicago. It says now, according to Bloomberg data based on immigration court records, the cities listed above are in fact where these folks are being shipped. You see, and it's all part of the agenda. And everywhere they're being shipped is turning those states into shitholes, and it's only going to get worse. Like I said, wait till the credit cards the debit cards they give them don't swipe, when they can't get the Medicaid, when they can't, be sheltered in these sanctuary cities and in these hotels and whatever they're being allowed to shack up. They're told they got to leave, and then they're going to start just lounging around. And where you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans live, they're going to be lounging around in some of these, more middle class, richer areas. It's just going to further destabilize the country, man. And like I said, a lot of these military age men are known gang members, known criminals, rapists, murderers, very unsavory fellows, man. And all they're going to resort to when all hell breaks loose is what they know. You see? It says much of the angst around the impact of newly arrived migrants to the U.S. has focused on the bigger cities in New York, Illinois, and Colorado, and immigration court records suggest that those states are indeed among the most affected by the surge. The data also signals that Texas and Florida, which have long complained about the cost of absorbing newcomers, are still among the top destination of migrants, you see? And it's only going to cause further and further destabilization, man. You see? Let's get to the point. It says the biggest changes are far from the southern border. Look at that. Illinois, Colorado, New York, California, North Carolina, Georgia, Texas, New Jersey, Florida, Massachusetts. You see? It says the invasion is happening at such a grand scale that Elon Musk posted on X Tuesday night, "I am ringing the alarm bell because the flood of illegals is crushing the country. Dams are bursting all over the country. See, it says America is only 4% of Earth's population. If only 1% of the rest of Earth moves here, that will crush all essential services." You see, and that's why this is part of the tactic of the elites to have mass migration. You see, and they know it's going to further destabilize. It's going to put further strain on resources. It's going to cause the government to have to spend more money to, and as they spend more money on dealing with these illegals, that's less money for you American citizens to get particular programs, Now, these illegals are going to be the ones flooding the food banks, where Americans were struggling to get food when they were using these food banks to eat. Now the migrants are going to be the first there to get it. And what do you think is going to happen eventually, man? It's going to get violent. It's going to get real testy. It's just going to lead further and further, like Klaus Schwab said, to a more angrier world. And the way they're going to do that is by bringing in all these migrants, man. And, giving them the royal treatment while giving the shaft to you American people. But just like I said, this is going to lead to more and more civil war, more and more anger. Egyptian versus Egyptian, black versus white, rich versus poor, tranny versus a heterosexual, It's going to get worse and worse and worse, man. It says there has already been a flurry of headlines about migrants sparking crime waves nationwide. You see? I hope public is waking up. Border invasion sparks It says tragically, NYC is on a downward spiral with unchecked migrant influx, rampant mental illness, and soaring crime rates. The city is bracing for even tougher times. It's a harsh reality, but one we can't ignore. See? It says another day, another migrant crime. This Salvadorian illegal alien has been arrested in D.C. Let me see something. It was showing their pictures earlier. Let me refresh this shit. Okay, here we go. Look at this guy. He just looked fucking bugged out. Look at this. Another day, another migrant crime. The Salvadoran illegal alien has been arrested in Washington, D.C. for the murder of a 2-year-old child. And he looks like he's through, And a lot of these people are coming over here with mental illness. A lot of them are fentanyl, crackheads. Like I said, murderers, rapists, man. Demonic entities, A lot of these people are filled. They got demons on them, And a lot of these guys been released out of the prisons to come here to come and wreak havoc, man. Look at this. Look at all these migrants, man. And they're going to bring their third world ways over here to Babylon the Great, to America, man. And these are people who are desperate, people who will do anything. You know, though a lot of these guys, like I said, a lot of these Hamites are convicted rapists, murderers, man. You know, hardened criminals. You know, it says and that's why when all hell breaks loose, like I said, when they're no longer given the little aid and help that they have, when they eventually told, look, to kick rocks, just go out there. These sanctuary cities are closed. We're no longer going to house you. Go out there and figure it out. They're going to really turn up in the cities, man. Crime is going to literally be completely, crazy, man. You see? And it's all ultimately the judgment of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai to bring the further destabilization and the further times of prophecy to pass. And it's going to eventually lead to Jacob's trouble. It says, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. You see? And that's what's going to eventually going to happen, man. You know, when a lot of these American citizens just get fed up with all these migrants, when they start just, start doing a little bit too much, and they're going to go unchecked, and, if Donald Trump gets into office and he starts bringing in his plan to do massive deportations, hey, these migrants are going to turn the hell up, man, because they're not going to want to go back to their countries. They're not going to want to get back on the bus and go back across the border. They're going to turn up. They're going to protest. They're going to fight. And then you're going to have Americans fighting against them because they're like, look, you need to get the hell up out of here. We don't want you here no more. So it's causing all this racial division, political division, just going to be just division upon division, anger upon anger. And all hell is going to break loose out here, man. You're literally going to have race wars and civil war in this country on a major scale. You see, and a lot of people are going to be put to death. You're going to have martial law. You're going to have, curfews out here. You're going to have the military coming out, to try to get things in order. Like I said, watch that movie, The Sons of Men. You'll see what I'm talking about. That's what it's going to be like here in Babylon the Great in the near future. It says, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, all right, a uprising against the government, not only from American citizens, but a lot of these migrants are going to be rising up. You promised us jobs, Biden. You promised us a future, They're going to be going in and going at it, It's going to be crazy as all hell out here. It says, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power, you see? And everybody will give a fuck about no curfew. Nobody's gonna care about what any politician or any mayor or governor or even what the president has to say at a certain point. It's just gonna be all chaos and all hell breaking loose out here in Babylon the Great. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Right, like California, Los Angeles, Illinois, Colorado, all these states where all these migrants are being fluxed. When shit gets really bad and, you have these sedition and martial law declared, they're not going to be letting people go leave one city to go into a next city. Those cities are going to be locked down. They're going to be, warlike cities. And like I said, Trump plans on having this mass migration, this mass deportation. Hey, it's going to be crazy as hell out here, which is going to ultimately lead to, everybody having to get a digital ID. You're going to have to, get the digital permission so that they can bring in this digital beast system for you to be able to function, for you to be identified, for you, because, they're about to deem all of these migrants when all hell's breaking loose as the new face of terrorism. And, they can eventually say, look, we don't know who the hell is who. The only way you can really be identified and be verified is you have to, get all of your biometrics and your digital ID requirements in order to be, citizenized, if that's the word, So this thing is going to go many, many ways, you see, but we know that the chaos is going to ensue first. It says, for because their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. You see, when they bring the cyber attack, when the financial system collapses, in the midst of all of this anger and hatred and civil war and chaos and infighting, man, when they, shut this shit completely down and the trucks aren't running and the grocery stores are ransacked and there's no more food coming in on a daily basis, man, that's when, people are going to be in that animal like behavior. And people are going to be busting each other's head for the lack of bread and for, in the midst of all of this trouble. You see? And this is what all this migrant shit is setting the stage for. You see? It says this, look, 15-year-old migrant Jesus Alejandro Rivera Figueroa, suspected of shooting a tourist and firing at a police officer during a failed robbery in Times Square, was arrested by the U.S. Marshals during Regional Fugitive Task Force. He is also suspected in armed robbery in the Bronx, you see? And these are all these migrants coming over here, man. They're coming over here and bringing that third world mentality here to Babylon the Great. You see? And shit like this is happening every day, but they're not reporting on every single piece of it. And look at this. Migrants doing their thing in Brooklyn. They steal a scooter and then chase the person to beat them up. You see? And this is happening in New York where the majority or a lot of these migrants are. And now you got the mayor, I think his name is Adams. Now he's crying and bitching that we need to get the migrants. This, this is getting out of hand. It's getting out of control. But when it first happened, he was all for it. He was saying that, he was bigging it up. Now he's seeing, New York is turned into a shithole and a haven to Gotham. To Gotham City, pretty much. So look at this. This shit, and they all got the mask on and shit. Straight Gotham City, man. It says the latest shit show is a migrant who murdered a 22-year-old nursing student, Laken Riley, on the University of Georgia campus last week. Left-leaning corporate media has been hush-hush about this, as well as the Biden administration. You see, they done killed this white woman, and like I said, and you don't hear nothing about it because it just further shows you, it's just called shameful spewing on the Biden administration, and it's just showing you just how bad, just showing you, how, this is just how bad shit is really going to be and how bad it's going to get, and all these Edomites, they crying, they, shit, making a big uproar about this chick, she was killed by an illegal immigrant. It says the most concerning part is that a tidal wave of violent crime will only accelerate from here. You see, a migrant crime wave is gripping the nation. Like I said, wait until shit really gets out of hand. Wait till these sanctuary cities and these places where these people are being housed no longer wants to house them. Once they finally realize that, look, what we wanted you to come here for and what we use you for, we don't need you anymore. So just fuck off. Hey, that's when these crime is really gonna skyrocket and shit is really gonna get real out here. Don't let these migrants, which they probably already have, don't let them start getting rifles and guns and pistols and shit. Like I said, we know we got a lot of sleeper cells. A lot of these individuals crossing the border are on orders. They're waiting to, be used for Black Swan events and so-called T attacks. It's going to get more and more worse. It says a new Gallup poll shows Americans are becoming increasingly angered by Biden's migrant crisis. You see, like Klaus Schwab said, a more angrier world. And this is where that sedition is going to eventually start sinking in. Hey, let more of these little Beckys and American citizens start to get fucked up by these migrants, man. Hey, it's going to get ill out here. It says about 28% of respondents said immigration is the top issue in the U.S. This is up from 20% from the last month. The border crisis is an epic disaster for Democrats ahead of the November elections. You see? Look at this. Now, media in Louisiana are reporting an illegal alien from Honduras has been arrested for the rape of a 14-year-old girl at knife point and stabbing another man repeatedly during a robbery. See just how bad? Well, New York City Mayor Eric Adams said Monday night at a community meeting that the city's sanctuary laws need to be reversed to deport the illegals. Yeah, now all of a sudden you want to deport them. Now there is too much. And like I said, that's going to be a hell of a mission within itself. You see? Now this nigga bitching. This is look at this. It says, and riddle me this: why are the Biden elites gunning for World War III in Ukraine with Russia while flooding the U.S. with millions of unvetted illegals? You have an invasion of 10 million illegal alien invaders, and migrant crime is out of control. The people who are here are being destroyed are the black and Hispanic working class in this country. You see, to bring further and further destabilization, man. And eventually, people are going to get fucking completely and utterly pissed the hell off, man. You see? And this is Isaiah chapter 19, verse 13. The princes of Zoan are become fools. The princes of Naph are deceived. They have also seduced Egypt, even they that are the stay of the tribes. Yahweh hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof. See, in this Egypt is talking about, spiritually, it's talking about America. And the Lord has a perverse spirit in the midst. All right. And like I said, and everything is about to spiral out of control. Everything is warped. Everything is backwards. And everything in this country is about to fall, man. It says, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. You see? And that's when all hell is going to break loose in this society. All right. When all this, the plans of these elites, all of these stupid policies, when all this shit just starts going to the left and further destabilization takes hold on this society, man, hey, it's going to be game over. You see? It says, and in that day shall Egypt be like unto women, and it shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of Yahweh of hosts, which he shaketh over it. And the land of Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt, and everyone that maketh mention thereof shall be afraid of himself because of the counsel of Yahweh of hosts, which he have determined against it. Like I was reading, in that second Esdras, all of that civil war, invading one another, famine, death, destruction, pestilences, sicknesses, all these things that the Lord is going to bring upon Babylon the Great, which is spiritually Egypt, is going to totally shake this place up, man. And Jake is going to be out here, going buck wild, man. And when you go to that the land of Noph, that's where Moses was performing a lot of the plagues upon Egypt, which when you read in the Apocrypha, the Lord said he's going to plague Egypt with plagues as before. So it's going to be complete and utter chaos and destruction that's going to happen out here in Babylon the Great. And the fun is about to be over. And who's going to suffer the most really is a lot of you women, you Negro, Latino, and Native American women. You're going to suffer the most when this shit really gets at its height, when all hell truly breaks loose. A lot of you are going to be spoils. This is Isaiah 24:8. It says, the mirth of Tabret ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, the joy of the harp ceases. And that's what's coming here. All the partying and the BS, all of the good times, all of the nonchalantness, all of the carelessness is going to eventually come to a screeching halt, man. It says, they shall not drink wine with a song. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. The city of confusion, which is America, is broken down. Every house is shut up, that no man may come in. There is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. You see? And that's when a lot of you jakes are really going to try to, find the prophets and try to get with this truth. But for a lot of you, it's going to be too late in that day. The doors of mercy are going to be shut. And, the city of confusion is going to be broken down. And there's going to be civil war, chaos, famine, pestilence, invading one another. Dead bodies all over the place, mass deletions, a lot of graping going on, and every other judgment that the Lord has prescribed for this place. It says, and the city is left desolation, and the gate is smitten with destruction. It says, when thus it shall be in the midst of the land among the people, there shall be as the shaking of an olive tree, and as the gleaning of grapes when the vintage is gone, it's done. You see, it's going to be nothing but hell happening. It's not going to be, you're going to lament for the teats and for the luxuries and for, the cheap food. The fast food is going to be closed. There ain't going to be no dollar menus, and there ain't going to be no easy access to this food and water and convenience as you are accustomed to having here. Things are going to be real tight. Things are going to be real heavy, and it's going to be a dark and evil times, man. And if you're not part of the elect of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, you're not going to have any covering. You're not going to have any protection, nor is any provision going to be made for you. But a lot of you are going to be given over as a flock to the slaughter. And look at this one. Stranger bashes woman in head with baseball bat and apparently random attack. And this is going to be happening more. A lot of you women are going to be getting more randomly attacked when all hell breaks loose, when the 911 don't work and the police ain't going to be there to come and assist you when you catching hell. It's going to be complete and utter chaos and survival of the fittest. And you women ain't going to stand a chance. So that's why it's in your best interest to repent right now and return to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai before the evil days come. All right. So I'm going to close it there. Lord willing, this is edifying. I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And to the next one, Shalom.